A large explosion, called the Divine Strake Test, was scheduled to be detonated on June 2, 2006, at the Nevada Test Site, 65 miles north of Las Vegas. The Nevada Test Site is a location where over the course of 4 decades more than 900 nuclear tests were conducted in the desert. The controversial Divine Strake Test will detonate 700 tons of chemical explosives buried 20 feet below ground. The test will simulate the destructive effects of shock waves from a low-yield nuclear weapon on underground bunkers with the goal of creating the least collateral damage. Both Los Alamos and Sandia National Laboratories in New Mexico participated in developing the Divine Strake Test. Data collected from the test will be used to continue work on the design, construction, and use of new nuclear weapons. Citizens who have heard about the Divine Strake Test continue to ask, why are we doing this? Members of the Western Shoshone, the most nuked nation in the world, denounce the Divine Strake Test as an affront to Mother Earth and to indigenous peoples worldwide. Downwinders, those who suffered serious adverse health effects as a result of radioactive fallout from decades of nuclear testing at the Nevada Test Site, feared the massive blast would lift toxic radioactive materials from past nuclear explosions into the air, spreading across the country to contaminate their lives once again. Advocates for peace from around the country pronounced the Divine Strake Test a significant step towards a new nuclear arms race that would encourage other countries to acquire nuclear weapons of their own. On May 26, 2006, the National Nuclear Security Administration announced that the Divine Strake Test would be delayed indefinitely due to the public's need for more information about the potential environmental and health effects from the blast. Activists declared the postponement a small victory. However, the issues they've raised haven't gone away.
I am John Wells. I am the Southern representative to the Western Shoshone National Council. To describe it as an organization is really, not correct. It is the governing body of the Western Shoshone Nation. We are the continuation of those chiefs and headmen that signed the treaty in 1863. And the reason we're here is initially because of this Divine Strake blast that was scheduled, and now I guess since it's been postponed, we'll call this a celebration. The citizens of the world have for the time being put a stop to that, we hope. In 1863, the United States of America and the Western Shoshone Nation entered into a treaty of peace and friendship. And that's how it's titled, a treaty of peace and friendship between the United States of America and the western bands of the Shoshone Nation of Indians. This treaty recognized these two nations, or these two nations recognized each other internationally by treaty, because treaties are only made between nations. It quite specifically defined the borders of the Western Shoshone Nation, and by ratifying this treaty, the United States recognized that. The treaty did not cede land, did not sell land, nor were we conquered. The land is ours. What the treaty did allow was certain concessions. The Shoshone gave the United States certain concessions, being the right to mine, to farm and ranch, to build communities, to build a railroad, to build a telegraph, specifically stating what could be done. Nowhere in that treaty was testing nuclear weapons, storing nuclear waste. So by elimination, they're not allowed. That's the law. The Constitution states that treaties are the supreme law of the land and that all judges will honor them.
What we we heard yesterday afternoon is that they've now indefinitely postponed the detonation of what they're calling Divine Strake, but that's not a cancellation, and the Western Shoshone have said no further military testing, and that's what the United Nations has backed them up on, and so there's no compromise. There will be no further military testing, and if there is, they will see protests, they will see continued litigation, we will do whatever we have to stop this type of action on Shoshone land. But it's going to take the people in this country, it's going to take the American public to wake up and understand what is happening and what has been happening, and to start listening to Native people like the Western Shoshone and other Native communities, and start listening and start being respectful and demanding that this government be respectful as well. So, thank you.
Well, I think that the test, and this test in particular, does not other specific evidence of that reveals that the U.S. economy is, in reality, if you peel back the covers, it's a war economy. It's an economy where economics and war are synonymous, and principally it starts out, of course, with a war on the earth itself, on the natural resources and peoples of the earth, to exploit and expropriate those natural resources, including the human beings themselves, as disposable commodities.
There's a need for all people, no matter what race, no matter what culture, no matter what class, poor people, middle income, rich people, corporate people, the people who work for the military industry. Everyone needs to reevaluate and ask their question, as far as everyone needs to evaluate and ask themselves the question of what is their relationship to the sacredness of Mother Earth. It's very important, very, very important that people reevaluate their position with the earth. Because as far as indigenous people, the Aboriginal people, is that this relationship to the earth is very precious, it's very sacred. This earth is connected to me through my umbilical cord. This little evidence that I have that connects to the earth. That's my true mother. If we can get people throughout the world to understand that concept, that this is my mother, and she has to be able to sustain us, and we have to be able to respect that.
What would you ask people to do to try and stop this kind of thing from happening?
Well, to try to stop this kind of thing, we've been asking people to come out here today and demonstrate. If they reschedule the test, then we will have other events, including the day they intend to do it, and to join in that. But in the meanwhile, to write to Congress people and tell them, the wool is being pulled over their eyes, that they voted no to a nuclear bunker buster test, and we're getting a subterfuge of it, which has perhaps some of the same dangerous effects, both in terms of escalation of nuclear weapons, because it's really a simulation of a nuclear weapon, and, as I said before, the radiation that might fall. So it's very dangerous, and we would encourage people doing everything they can to try to stop it.
Because all the things that has happened had to happen in order to bring us to this place for peace. And these are the messages of the ancestors. That it says, within each and every one of you, you have been born again. And to reach down inside of yourselves to know that you are those who have been chosen because you had made the agreement to come back at this time to process peace, to teach love and harmony through the elements of Mother Earth, the wind, the fire, and the water. And because of our prayers and our thoughts, they connect in little circles, and they go up into the air and the oxygen, and into the clouds, and when we send them out in our offerings in the fire, through the smoke, it rises and touches the Great Spirit's heart, and touches Mother, and touches all of the people's hearts, because we are them, and they touch all the people around the world. Just our words alone are spoken in truth, is what the ancestors say, to speak the truth of peace. And today in the rally for peace, and to leave any negativity or heartache or sadness or sorrow today. Not to be upset against the government, but to bless them, because they have been sent here to teach us what not to do. And when we can relieve these things, our prayers are very powerful, and our thoughts are very powerful.
You are the people that put this together. You are the people said, we're gonna bring our food, we're gonna bring our water, we're gonna be here because we don't like what the United States government is doing. So make sure this is a food that has been donated from some of you people. That's what we're gonna receive for our stomach, hungry stomach. Remember, that you are the people. So, want the elders first?
Corbin, so one more announcement. For those who haven't been here, we issue a permit to non-Shoshone citizens that allow them to enter our territory. One of the significance of this is when we started issuing the permit, people who chose to cross the line into the test site and were detained stopped being arrested. They were merely detained and released. It is our belief that the United States does not want to question the validity of our nationhood, and that's how we see ourselves. We are citizens of the Western Shoshone Nation. This is a foreign country. So we will have probably down here by the gate, we'll set up a tent in the morning. We ask for a $5 donation. If you don't have it, that's fine. But we'll be happy to issue a permit to enter. It's valid for 1 year from the date of issuance. Right over here. Our gate.
It's also valid for ID, right?
It's valid ID, yes. Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and again, prior to that, people would be detained, they would be arrested, taken to Beatty, and processed.
Put in jail.
Well, yeah. And now, depending on the behavior of individuals, generally they're detained. You'll see when you get down there, there's an area off to the left. It's just a fenced-in holding area. And people will be held there, and then when things slow down, and they just turn everybody loose. So, permits will be available.
I plan to do the arrest action to go over the line and probably to be at risk arrest. You know, we always say risk arrest. I don't know that the rest is, but if they do, I do, because it's putting your body there. As Martin Luther King said that way back, the theology of stepping off the curb. Well, it's a theology of stepping across the line. It's putting your life there, and you don't know whether anything will happen or not, and that's why Martin Luther King also called dangerous selflessness. You know, that you're taking the risk, and I think we need to take the risk, whatever the consequences are. Recently, in recent years, they have not been putting us in jail because they didn't have any place to put people. They don't have a new jail. They could do it. They could change it any time. The Justice of Peace, there's just a new Justice of Peace. The former Justice of Peace died recently. Even in that process, I was in that new jail not very long ago with one of the other attendees here, and they could send us to jail. I don't expect to get another 6 months at this point, but I could.
Can you tell us why you're here today? Why you came out for this event today? Why are you here?
Well, I'm so outraged that they are continuing to develop nuclear weapons, and this test is to test some aspect of a bunker buster. And the very fact that they're considering this a viable option outrages me. I just can't imagine people of any moral background justifying the incineration of so many innocent people, women and children, the nuclear fallout, the contamination. The more I learn about this, the more inconceivable I think that this aspect of our militarism is even considered today.
What does it mean for you to cross a line?
Well, for me, my heritage is German on my mother's side, and when I learned about the Holocaust, I talked to my mom about that, and she says our relatives couldn't have done that. And it was a great question for me to say, you know, why didn't people stand up and say something? And so I thought, you know, today this is going on. I have to stand up. I have to stand up and say something.
And so you were planning to cross the line?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Well, I would like to be among those people that said, please stop. Please stop. Please consider what you're doing. I've talked to like the previous director of the whole operation, engineering background. I have an engineering background. I can see how people can get up consumed in an engineering project, but I don't know what it will take before people start to think, you know, we need to think about this. You know, what are we doing? I mean, they don't want to talk about the people that we are planning to kill with this. We don't have specific people in mind, but it's designed to kill a lot of people. And I have a neighbor in our house. He was a friend. He lived in the same town that we lived in. We were friends, and he worked on the first bomb. He was a chemist and lovely person, and at one time I was going to talk to him and ask him about Japan, you know, and what we did there, and he held his hand up and he said, wait, I signed the petition not to drop the bomb, and he said, I'll show it to you if you want. He, a few years later, his wife died, and we were talking in the post office, a little town. And a little later in the conversation, he said, I wish I'd spent my life working to help mankind. And I thought, you know, maybe the world is changing, because he's an elderly man. He did this with the best of intentions, and his understanding has changed. And I think maybe people's understanding will change. And I just want to be part of saying, you know, even if we had to go to jail, please think about it. Please don't.
I'm here because I love our earth. I'm very in touch with nature, and humans are part of that. And I want to do everything I can to preserve what we have left of our land. I'm very tragic-stricken over all of the damage that's done to human beings and to the earth, to the beautiful things that human beings have made in the way of, you know, architecture and culture. You know, there's just so many aspects to the destruction of militarism, and I'm absolutely against any kind of militarism, really. I really feel like we need to put all of our effort into learning how to cooperate in our world together, all of us as human beings, and also as living beings along with all the other living creatures that we share this earth with. So whenever I get a chance, I want to speak out in the only way I know how, which is to come to a place like this, where we're allowed to, we're given the opportunity to say with our bodies, our voice, with our walking, whatever it is, say that we would like this to stop. All of this kind of bomb testing, military development. I just really would like us to learn to live in peace in our relationships, close at hand, families, and in our world. And so I'm here, and I'm try to be wherever I can be to say that. I do a lot of walking on the earth, and that's part of what I'm saying, even with my feet. I've walked, we walked 2,700 miles from Mexico to Canada on the Pacific Crest Trail, and it was life-changing, and I feel like our life is different now. We begin to see what's really important in this life, and so I'm speaking out as the only way I know how. That's why I'm here.
That it's you who are here illegally. And many of the people here have been given permit, granted and signed by officials of the Western Shoshone National Council. This is proof that they are here in a peaceful way, because that is the teachings and the way of the Western Shoshone people. So many of us have come from the four directions to defend the Western Shoshone elders, the youth, the women, the men. And many of us are here as staff. People are here. So as you know, there are some here. There are part of their weapons of mass destruction and is not for peace of our Mother Earth. Many of you, I don't know anything about you in your heart, but some words you know that what the Western Shoshone people in the Treaty of Ruby Valley represents is the peace. Peace. That's all they ever wanted. But your government has contaminated this land, has abused this land in the natural law, and it has been an act of treason. But we are here in peace. So this permit gives people permission, and there are some people willing to go forward at this time.